Welcome back to On Texas Basketball. I'm Jeff Howe, joined as always by Jerry Hamilton. Going to look back at a big home win for Sean Miller and the Longhorns. A lot closer than a lot of people would have liked, but Texas gets the win over LSU. The Longhorns have a visitor on campus. We'll look at the rest of the schedule and some more recruiting intel. Jerry, let's go ahead and start with the game. And I'm as you go through it, you start looking at the box score, and I was cracking up to myself looking at it because Sean Miller got asked on. We were on a Zoom call with him on Monday. And you look at Texas in terms of adjusted offensive efficiency, this is going to be their best team since the Elite Eight team in 07-08. They're probably going to finish in the top 10 in adjusted offensive efficiency. And Sean Miller was asked, hey, is this the best offense you've ever coached? And he was like, no, like almost saying like it's not even close. Because when you think of good offense, Jerry, you think of ball movement and guys spacing the floor and everything looks good and you're playing with pace. This team has gotten it done by unconventional means, and that's really how they won the LSU game, Jerry. They go on runs. They live on mid-range jumpers. They're a really good team when it comes to second chance points because they're a really good rebounding team. They had a 15-4 edge over LSU in second chance points, and they get to the foul line a lot. Yes, and they didn't shoot it. They didn't shoot it well. Jerry, I'm gonna blame you for this jinx. They didn't shoot it well from the foul line on Tuesday. But they got 34 free throw attempts. You do that, you're going to win a lot of ball games. It's not conventional, Jerry, but this team keeps winning with their offense.
And offensive rebounding, second chance points, right? I mean, when you think about the game last night, Texas scored 88 points and missed 11 free throws. They've been much better from the free throw line in the last 9 games prior to that. They were at 82.5% from the line. And those are a lot of big shots, big free throws in tight games as well. They weren't a bunch of blowouts involved there. So, I mean, Texas is coming off games where they were 21 of 23, 20 of 23, 29 to 36. I mean, they've been on a run. They've gone from 71.5% from the line to 75.3 going into the last night. People are like, well, that's 4%. That's a big deal when you shoot a lot of free throws. It doesn't just magically go way up. So Texas has been very good, one of the better free throw shooting teams in the SEC. Going into that game. They didn't have a good game. It still scored 88 points. To your point, Jeff, they scored 88 points, and Dalen Swain only played 21 minutes last night because of foul trouble, a couple of self-inflicted fouls on him. But, that's what was interesting to me watching the game last night is I had 2 thoughts. One, it was good for the team to have to play without Dalen Swain for an extended period of time to see how the offense changed, to see who would step up. Because Dalen Swain's so much of the playmaker on this team from the wing position that I think sometimes we get lost in that how big of a deal that actually is. So to see the Texas team respond now, I will say this. LSU didn't play a lick of defense late in the half. It was open gym threes, right? I mean, it's catch and shoots with no pressure, people playing under ball screens, not really giving max effort through a ball screen. So it was pretty easy scoring from the perimeter late in that half, but they still went out and executed and made shots and gained confidence from that. LSU totally, which not many people have done to Texas this year. LSU took away the 3-point shot last night. I mean, Texas only shot 13 threes. They made 7, 6 of 9 in the first half. And because they made those open gym threes in the first half, it changed how Matt McMahon guarded Texas in the second half. So the fact that you can score 88 points in a game, missing 11 free throws, Dalen Swain only playing 21 minutes. It is unconventional. It's a little different. But you know what I say at the end of the day? This proves how good of an offensive coach Sean Miller has become in his career. Because he lived in the high 60s and low 70s at Arizona. This Texas offense is 5th or 6th in efficiency in college basketball right now. That means for Texas fans, your coach can get it done in different ways and even unconventional ways. That's really good for the future of your program.
Jerry, I do wonder, and by the way, Texas, as of Wednesday morning, up to 5th nationally in adjusted offensive efficiency, according to Ken Palm. Jerry, I do wonder, we've seen this team, I don't know if you can call it a trend because we've seen this team do different things in different games. You look at Georgia and Vanderbilt, the 2 home wins where it was tight at the half, and then they pulled away in the second half. They've had other, the Oklahoma game stands out as one where they got down big early, had to crawl their way out of the hole, and ended up pulling away late. And this game, Jerry, felt a lot like the Ole Miss game where you got up really big, the other team wasn't playing well, and then they started knocking down shots. You got a little stagnant, and you kind of just had to hold on for dear life until the end. Is there anything, Jerry, that concerns you about the way these games are going, or is it more important that they're just finding a way to finish these games?
I think, number one, they're finding a way to win games because what I was thinking at LSU in the late second half last night? Mississippi State.
Yeah.
Now, Mississippi State has a better guard. Or the point guard, Hubbard's a stud player, right? And he can get to the free throw line. He makes tough shots. But Max McKinnon got it going. I thought LSU did a great job keeping him going. They used, even though he's a shooting guard, they used him as the ball screener to create conflict and switches. And Texas did not do a good job on those conflict switch situations too much. And Sean Miller obviously called one of those out in his press conference. It was big because it ended up in a 22-foot open gym three by a really good offensive player. So I thought McMahon did a good job. But, look, I think it's a couple things, Jeff. I think this team's still learning how to win and how you win different ways. And look, I also want to give the credit to the conference. The conference is very talented. I mean, LSU had been in a number of tight games. Anybody can watch these teams. And even if you say, well, LSU's 2-11, you don't think they're a terrible team. They're a very talented team. It's no different in football in the SEC. There's elite athleticism and size in the SEC in basketball, on the basketball court. And that's proven out. I mean, South Carolina will play you tight. Moochie, the guard Moochie Johnson's a tremendous player. He can keep you in a game. I think SEC teams have guys like that. But I liked it. I was thinking late in the first half of this game, which almost kind of came back to bite me, Jeff. I was thinking, I hope LSU plays some defense in the second half so this Texas team can continue to grow and get better. When I was thinking that, I didn't want it to be in a final minute game necessarily, right. But I do think it's important for this team to keep building, because I'm here to tell you, we're about to look at it. This next 4-game stretch for Texas is the most difficult of the season, in my opinion.
Yeah, LSU shot over 63% from the field in the second half. As you said, the defense, you just have to kind of hope you have enough good stretches to overcome the bad stretches that we know are there, Jerry. But we were talking before we started recording, Jerry, and as we look at what's left of the schedule, a lot of green of late with this 5-game winning streak that this team is on. I think it's safe to assume we're going to see some red here mixed in towards the end. But, Jerry, you're at this point, you're at 8 conference wins right now. You're kind of playing with house money as you get into what's turning out to be the tough, maybe the toughest part of your SEC schedule, with Florida, A&M, and Arkansas coming up. All that after you go to Athens this weekend.
Yeah, 4 quad 1 games in a row, 3 of them on the road. Obviously, we're looking at this for the people that listen to the podcast. And then Oklahoma at home, which is a quad 2. Because, by the way, Oklahoma's not a bad team either. They won at Vanderbilt, and they're on a little win streak themselves. Good guards, 3 really good players. A coach has been to a Final Four. When you look at this, I mean, it's pretty simple to break down for me. You're at 8-5, and these are 5 tough games to finish. You have to finish at least with 9 wins. If you can get to 9-9, I'm not sitting here saying Texas is going to go 1-4. I'm not saying that, but I'm going through a scenario. If Texas gets to 9-9, with the schedule they have played, they have 5 quad 1 wins right now. That win at Missouri is going to look good. That win at Alabama is going to look good. I mean, so the 5 quad 1 wins. And I think if they get to 9, and if you say, man, it didn't go well down the stretch, and you win 1 and you're 9-9, I think Texas is going to be in the tournament. Will it be a play-in game or will it be in? I think that might be dependent on if you win an SEC tournament game. If you go 9-9 and win an SEC tournament game, you probably aren't going to be in the play-in game the way things are looking now. Now, where it gets so interesting, Jeff, is there's a couple of scenarios out there. I think Texas matches up best with Georgia of the teams remaining, and they beat them by 20 the first time. And they're not going to go down to Athens and win by 20. Georgia won at Kentucky last night. I think Mark Pope's having a bad morning in Lexington. But look, Texas matches up pretty well with Georgia. Now, they had Lucina Traore. They really dominated that game on the glass the first time. So I think that is an opportunity for Texas. The key here is if you can pull an upset, and Texas is not going to be favored in any of these 4 games, so I call it an upset, and Texas isn't beating Florida. So let's go to Georgia, A&M, and I think Arkansas is a tough one too. I really think Georgia and A&M on the road is what it comes down to for Texas. If they can get an upset win and win one of those games, then the Oklahoma game doesn't have as much pressure on it at the end of the season. That gives you the opportunity to go get 10. That's the most ideal scenario for Texas, the way they've set themselves up. Win one of those 2 road games, either at Georgia or at A&M, and then you don't have all that pressure on you the Oklahoma game. Can you imagine, Jeff, being on a 4-game losing streak and sitting at 8-9 and having to beat Oklahoma on senior day to ensure you're in the tournament in some form or fashion? It's a lot of pressure. And so the best case scenario for Texas is to win one of those 2 road games, either Georgia or A&M, and then that takes that pressure off. Then you're playing for 10. Then you're playing for 10 SEC wins, and then the SEC tournament doesn't even matter. That's the best case scenario for this team. We'll see if they can get there.
Yeah, you want to be as far away from Dayton as you possibly can at this point. That's the goal. And Jerry, again, considering where this team was leaving Knoxville, the fact that they're at 8 wins right now in conference play with a realistic chance to get to 10, it's one of the better in-season turnarounds I've seen from a Texas basketball team in a long time. Quite frankly, maybe ever, Jerry, considering where this team was.
Yeah, look, I've said all year, and it hasn't been anything to protect Sean Miller. It's just I just look at this sport. I mean, and I've said all year I love Sean Miller hire, but it also, you're not guaranteed the NCAA tournament in the first round. I mean, I can go through the list of guys who didn't make the NCAA tournament the first round in the portal era: Danny Hurley, Todd Golden, Nate Oates, Chris Beard at Ole Miss, Rick Pitino at St. John's, Brad Underwood at Illinois, Mick Cronin at UCLA. There's others. It's not a given. Even if you're a tremendous coach, it's not a given. So that's kind of where I've been sitting all year. Is it's not a given. Let's see what this team can do. But what I would say, if I'm a Texas fan right now, where I'd feel really good, no matter what happens from here on out, can you look at your team and say it's improved? Can you look at players and say they've improved? Can you look at your offense and say, wow, this is the best offense I've watched, and I know it's going to get better as Sean Miller gets more of his guys that fit what he ideally wants to do in future years? That is kind of what I'm looking at with Texas. And you would love to make the tournament, yes. And the expectations are to make the tournament now because they won 5 games in a row. But my big picture with this 30,000-foot view is Sean Miller is getting these guys to learn how to win, believe they can win. Individual players are getting better. Dalen Swain's about to probably be a first-rounder in the NBA draft. I think Matas is on track to be a second-rounder next year. You want these guys to do great things and go be drafted. That is how you build these programs. And then team getting better, players getting better, players being developed, guys having career opportunities in basketball. If you put all those 3 things together over the long haul, you have the right coach in your program. And that's what I'm really looking at. You hope to make the tournament. I don't think Texas will go 0-5 down the stretch. Could I see 1-4? I could. Could I see 2-3? I could. But the main thing I'm looking at is this program in good hands? And I think this program's in very good hands. I think that's proven out this year, Jeff.
Jerry, let's talk a little bit about the future. Clark Luca Reithauser, the Swiss forward, on campus for his official visit. That'll wrap up on Wednesday. Any vibe, Jerry, on where Texas feels they stand in this one?
Yeah, I think the big key there is he visited Nebraska over the weekend officially, and he's from Switzerland, 6'7.5" wing. Probably a future NBA draft pick type of guy. When that is, we'll see. Some of those overseas guys get mocked into these drafts really a year or 2 early, and then they end up going a couple of years after that. But I think the whole key there is there's been some talk that he wants to end up in the 26 class. I think if he ends up in the 26 class, I'd be surprised if that's Texas. If he stays in the 27 class to where he comes in absolutely ready to be a player, a potential starter, or a top 7-8 guy on your team as a freshman, I think Texas would have a lot of interest in that from that standpoint. But if he wants to reclass to 26, I'm not sure that's going to be the match for Texas, but we'll see. But a visit's going well. He'll take some others visits as well. But right now, Nebraska, Texas is where he's officially visited.
Jerry, we'll wrap this up talking about the 26 signees postseason for Bo Ogden, postseason for Austin Gooseby, and Joe Sterling. Jerry, that's the more this plays out, that's looking like a really, really good pickup, a steal for Sean Miller in this program.
Yeah, Joe Sterling was his sectional player of the year. And you're the player of the year in that sectional, you're doing something right. I think 23 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists a game. He can shoot the heck out of the ball. I think he made over 100 threes or right around there. But I probably didn't. They didn't play enough games. But shot over 40% from the 3 once again. 6'4" guard, continues to kind of defy the odds, I would say. the expectations? Does it pass the expectations? I think he's going to end up being a key part of this program long term. I'm not saying necessarily year one right out of the gate, but long term. Bo Ogden, Austin Westlake go into the playoffs, the high school basketball playoffs in the state of Texas start February 23rd. So he gets going there, see if they can make a run at Austin Westlake. He's had a tremendous season. I think he's definitely made over 100 threes this season, shot it over 40%, rebounding the ball well, making plays, just playing within himself, having a really good season, solidifying himself as a top 50, top 40 level prospect in this 26 class. And Austin Goosby's playing at an electric high level for me. And dynamic prep coached by Jermaine O'Neal, who's done a great job with those guys, is really pushes Austin Goosby, which I think is great prep for college. They play in the Overtime Elite League, and so they're going to be playing in Atlanta coming up here this weekend, I believe, in a semifinal. But Austin Goosby's playing the best basketball of his career. When he signed with Texas, I thought, Jeff, he's going to be a 2-year player, and he may still end up being that. But I'll tell you what I've seen from his senior season at Dynamic Prep, I think he has the chance to be a 1-year guy. I mean, he's 6'5" and a quarter. He's still doing all the same things he was doing before, but he's playing with more physicality. I think Jermaine O'Neal's demanded that. He's making perimeter shots, contested threes against other power high major basketball players, which is impressive to scouts at the high school level. If that aspect carries over to college, it's similar to Kingston Fleming's, and I'm not saying Austin's going top 5, but when people talked about Kingston Fleming's coming out, they're like, if he makes perimeter shots, he's definitely going to be a first rounder. How many perimeter shots and how quickly he picks up the rest of the game at the college game as a point guard, he could be a top 10 pick. And Fleming's has made perimeter shots. With Goosby, if he makes contested threes, if he goes Dalen Swain in year one, which it took Swain 3 years to do in college, I think he's going to be a one-and-done player because I think he's that talented.
Awesome stuff, Jerry. Thank you for the knowledge and expertise. As always, thank you to Matthew behind the scenes for producing it. If you're not a member over at ontexasfootball.com, make sure you get over to the website ASAP. Anytime we get hoops, news, notes, or nuggets, team football, recruiting, baseball, all kinds of stuff going on the 40 acres right now, we've got you covered over at ontexasfootball.com. Make sure that you like this video and that you're subscribed to the On Texas Football YouTube channel. That way, whenever we go live or drop a video, you're not missing any of our Longhorn coverage all year round. For Jerry, for Matthew, for the entire On Texas Football staff, I'm Jeff Howe. Thank you so much for watching and listening. And until next time, welcome.